Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. All right, as the NHL continues to heat up, there has been one team that has stuck out from the rest of them. And who is that team? It is the New Jersey Devils. They are in first place at the top of the Metropolitan Division at 13-3. And right now they are on a 10-game winning streak. And during that 10-game winning streak, they haven't lost in November, and they are scoring 4.3 goals a game. Now, yes, the New Jersey Devils are impressively dominant right now, but them beating the Canadiens last night 5-1 wasn't the game to watch. The game to watch was the Dallas Stars versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. Going into this game, the Tampa Bay Lightning are on a 3-game homestand facing Washington, Dallas, and Calgary, and game 2 was Dallas. And Tampa started this game out really quick with a goal, getting a goal 80 seconds into the game. But it didn't take that much longer for the Dallas Stars to tie this game up at 1 apiece. But during this game and in this first period, the first period was the most defensive period out of the entire game. This period is what truly set the tone for the entire game, because in this first period, 33 hits and 9 blocked shots were committed in that first period. And then on to the second, it was the complete opposite, as it was the most offensive period in the entire game, as there were 4 total goals scored, and it was 2 by each side. Now, yes, the Dallas Stars were keeping up with the Tampa Bay Lightning the entire time, but there has only been one time that they had the lead, and they only had the lead for 4.5 minutes of the entire game. The rest of the game, it was either tied or the Tampa Bay Lightning went for the go-ahead goal. Now, with Tampa, their power play hasn't looked all that great this season, and due to it, they're allowing their opponents to be high scoring even against lower level teams. And because of it, it makes it look like a different kind of game, where it can be like a high scoring game for either team, but it's just, and it could be looking like a good game, but it's just on the defense and the power play and penalty killing of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, if they can just tweak that little bit, it could be a totally different story. But here's the thing: because of the struggles in the power play and penalty killing, the Lightning could have a fantastic offensive game, scoring 4, 5, or 6 goals in that one game, but their opponents are keeping up with them, making the score like a 5-4, 6-3, 5-3 kind of game. But it's a good thing that that Tampa has one of the most dominant offenses in the game, and because of it, they are able to make game-winning plays like Alex Killorn did, helping the Tampa Bay Lightning get their 9th victory of the season, getting a overtime goal, beating the Dallas Stars 5-4. Now, when it comes to being dominant, it is very hard to keep it that way. And when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks, LUKA has been the absolute backbone of why the Dallas Mavericks are dominant, and he had another 35-point game in an offensive battle with the LA Clippers. With this game, Dallas in the first half, they were hitting on all cylinders, passing the ball to each other, trusting in each other to hit their open shots, and making great defensive plays and capitalizing on mistakes that the Clippers made to make it pull away and make the lead as large as they could. Because in that first half, the Clippers, they could not do anything on offense, and because of that, they got down by as much as 25 points in the game. Now, going into the second half, it was the complete opposite. The Clippers took the Dallas Mavericks game plan and completely reciprocated it in their favor, and they had a complete dominant third and fourth quarter, scoring a total of 69 points in that second half. For how dominant that second half was for the Clippers, that third quarter was where everything changed for that Clippers on the way they were able to push the ball up the court and go into transition offense and capitalizing on those plays. And because of it, they were able to go on a 25-7 run and cut the lead down to as little as 3 points in that third quarter. And then once that fourth quarter happened, they eventually came back and tied the game up. And then the final 9 minutes of the game, it was shot for shot the entire time. And at that point, it was actually like whoever had the ball last, they were going to win the game. And Dallas ended up having the ball last, and LUKA made the final three for the Mavericks at the end of the game at the time, which made it 102-98. And what LUKA has done has just been unbelievable, because his historic season just continues to move on, because just in the first half, he had 20 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals, but he finished with 35 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. LUKA has just been unbelievable, and his offensive firepower has been second to no one this season. And because of that, the Dallas Mavericks were able to beat the LA Clippers, even though it should have been a more dominant win than what it was, because there was at one point they were winning by 25 points, but only won by 2 points, winning 103-101. Now, as college basketball has just started, at the beginning of every single college basketball season, we have some tournaments going on, and there's a couple of them that involve based on like what they've done as a college. And yesterday we had the Champions Classic. We had Kansas versus Duke, and we had Michigan State versus Kentucky. And Michigan State had a huge upset over Kentucky because they were unranked, and they beat number 4 Kentucky 86-77 in double overtime. But the game to watch was Kansas versus Duke, and the main reason was because it was 7 versus 6. It was the first top 10 matchup of the year. And going into this game, the Duke Blue Devils, they had 3 freshmen that were starting and that were going to be playing in this game, and they only had 1 dude that was returning from last year in Jeremy Roach. Now, Duke started this game off with a quick few points, jumping out to a 6-point lead at one point, and then once Kansas got on the board, they jumped out to a large 17-6 lead once they got their juices flowing. And their game plan to this game was moving the ball well and making sure they can get shots up and in transition. But their main factor was passing the ball and finding the open man to spread the floor to help get those shots and get those easy shots and get those easy baskets. And due to it, that's why they were able to sustain their lead most of the time. But Duke, their game plan was getting tough paint points, and which was driving to the basket or passing the ball inside the paint to get those tough inside shots to be able to keep up with Kansas. And it helped them most of the time. But the reason that they did not win this game, because they could have totally won this game with the way they were playing, with getting those tough shots, but the reason that they were unable to beat Kansas was because that this game was rookies versus veterans, because Kansas had multiple guys returning from that championship team, and while Kansas, most of their team is, because of Duke, most of their team is just straight freshmen, and towards the end, though, and due to them being young, and because of that, they were making turnovers in costly moments, and because of those turnovers they were making, Kansas was able to turn them into points, and that's why Kansas was able to win the game 69-64 as the first top 10 matchup of the year. All right, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to my channel at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media whatsoever. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And I'm out.